After her divorce, Layla felt like she was walking through the world without a map. She wasn't just grieving her marriage. She was grieving the version of herself who was a wife, a partner, a future mother. Her days felt unfamiliar. Her name on paperwork felt strange, and her reflection in the mirror made her hesitate. The loss had shaken the foundation of who she thought she was. Welcome to this mini-series on understanding the language of grief, loss, and trauma. My name is Nathalie Himmelrich. I'm a somatic practitioner, psychological therapist, educator, and author, specializing in grief and trauma, and the host of the How to Deal with Grief and Trauma podcast. Grief and trauma are deeply human experiences, yet many of us struggle to describe what we are going through, or to understand what others are facing. The vocabulary of loss is vast, varied, and sometimes overwhelming. In this short podcast episode series, we'll explore the different types of grief, loss, and trauma that people encounter throughout life. Each mini-episode serves both as an educational tool and a compassionate companion for anyone trying to make sense of their own experience with grief, loss, and trauma, or someone who is supporting someone else who is. These terms are more than labels. They are doorways into greater understanding, healing, and connection. Whether you are a bereaved parent, a caregiver, a therapist, or someone walking alongside a grieving friend or someone who has experienced trauma, these bite-sized episodes aim to give you language, insight, and tools. Each one includes a definition, some key considerations, an explanation of why it matters, relevant podcast episodes, and frequently asked questions that I have been asked by my clients and you, the listener of the podcast. And my answers are all grounded in both professional and lived experience. So let's begin. Identity-related grief refers to the emotional pain and confusion experienced when a significant loss alters one's sense of self, such as losing a loved one, a job, or a relationship. This type of grief can lead to feelings of uncertainty about one's identity and purpose in life, often resulting in a struggle to redefine oneself in the wake of the loss. We don't just grieve people, we grieve the roles, identities, and futures tied to them. Loss can dismantle how we see ourselves as parent, partner, professional, or even survivor. Identity-related grief is deeply disorienting because it asks us to reimagine who we are without a key part of our life story. This type of grief can be invisible and confusing. People may appear functional, but feel hollow or lost inside. Naming it helps normalize the experience and create space for rebuilding identity with compassion and intention. There are many people on the How to Deal with Grief and Trauma podcast who speak about that kind of grief as part of their loss. Some of the other examples might be divorce or separation, becoming a widow, a parent whose role changes when the children leave home, like the empty nest syndrome, estrangement. Other might be work or career-related transitions such as retirement, job loss, or career change due to illness or injury. Some health or physical changes related might be due to chronic illness or disability diagnosis, loss of physical abilities, or just basically body changes from aging, illness, surgery. Then there's also life stage or self-concept shifts that can bring up this kind of grief. So for example, coming out or a gender transition, a loss of faith or spiritual identity, also cultural disconnection, or becoming a caregiver. So check out the episode overview to find an episode that might speak to you. One question that I received from a listener is, Can grief really change who I am? Yes, so grief reshapes us, especially when it's tied to a foundational identity. And that can feel really disorienting because it affects your internal compass, not just who you lost or what you lost, but who you thought you were. Another question is, how long does identity-related grief last? So that varies, just like with any grief. The process of redefining self can take time, and it may evolve through stages. Is this the same as an identity crisis? It can overlap, but grief is the root. The crisis comes from the rupture of loss. What helps most is gentle self-reflection, support from others who understand, maybe values-based therapy or coaching, and allowing a new identity to emerge. Can I ever feel whole again? Yes, but it may be a new kind of wholeness, one built on growth, courage, and integration. Because it's absolutely okay to grieve who you used to be. That grief is real, and honoring it is part of becoming who you are now. In the next episode, I'll be speaking about compounded grief. Stay tuned. I hope this episode has helped you feel more grounded in the language of loss, grief, or trauma, and maybe even offered you some clarity, validation, or insight into your own experience or the experience of someone you care about. Grief and trauma are deeply personal, yet universal. When we can name what we're feeling, we take one powerful step closer to healing and the integration of our experience back into our life. If this series resonates with you, I invite you to keep exploring. You'll find more resources, courses, and ways to work with me at nathaliehimmelrich.com. And of course, you're always welcome to revisit any of the episodes whenever you need a gentle reminder that you're not alone. Until next time, take good care of your heart.